Inspiration from Surat Anfal, Lessons for Muslim Filmmakers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in filmmaking. Today, I want to share with you some profound inspiration from Surat Anfal, drawing from the beautiful insights of Brother Fadil Sulaiman. As Muslim storytellers, we can find remarkable guidance in this surah that speaks directly to our creative journey. Surat Anfal, the 8th chapter of the Qur'an, is often known as the Spoils of War or Surah Badr, as it was largely revealed following the Battle of Badr. But beyond its historical context, this surah offers us timeless wisdom about preparation, strategic thinking, spiritual strength, and the proper mindset for those who strive in Allah's cause, all principles that apply beautifully to our work as Muslim filmmakers. The context of revelation. As Brother Fadil explains, Surat Anfal was revealed during a pivotal transition in Islamic history. After 14 and a half years of patience, perseverance, and spiritual preparation, the Muslims were entering a new phase of empowerment. The Battle of Badr wasn't just the first major military engagement for the Muslims. It represented the emergence of the Islamic community as a force that could no longer be ignored. This context is significant for us as Muslim filmmakers. Many of us feel we're at a similar historical moment. After decades of misrepresentation and marginalization in global media, we're now entering a phase where Muslim voices can and must be heard. The technological tools, distribution platforms, and audience hunger for authentic stories have created our own Badr moment, an opportunity to emerge as a creative force that can no longer be ignored. Strategic vision and preparation. One of the most powerful insights Brother Fadil shares about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, during this period was his strategic brilliance. As Brother Fadil notes, the Prophet, peace be upon him, was one of the greatest strategic and military thinkers in history. He didn't just react to events, he had a clear vision and methodically prepared for it. For us as filmmakers, this teaches us the importance of strategic thinking. Our films shouldn't just be random creative expressions. They should be part of a larger vision for how we want to shape the narrative about Islam and Muslims. Just as the Prophet, peace be upon him, established alliances, gathered intelligence, and extended the influence of the nascent Muslim state, we too must think strategically about building networks and alliances with other Muslim creatives, understanding our audience and the media landscape, extending our influence through strategic storytelling choices, creating work that serves a larger purpose beyond entertainment. Consider how the Prophet, peace be upon him, focused his early expeditions on the trade routes north of Mecca. This wasn't random, it was a deliberate strategy to affect Mecca's economic lifeline. Similarly, our films should target the narrative trade routes of our time, the stories, themes, and characters that can most effectively challenge harmful stereotypes and present authentic Muslim perspectives. Faith preparation before action. Brother Fadil makes a crucial point about why permission for fighting was delayed for 14 years after the beginning of Revelation. He explains that preparation wasn't just about material resources or military training, it was primarily about spiritual and faith preparation. As he says, if the weapon is raised by a hand that does not fear God, it will remain an instrument of injustice. This contains a profound lesson for us as Muslim filmmakers. Technical skill and artistic talent alone are not enough. Before we pick up our cameras, before we write our scripts, we need spiritual preparation. Our creative weapons must be wielded by hands that fear Allah, or our work risks becoming just another form of injustice or ego-driven expression. This means that our development as filmmakers must include strengthening our connection with Allah through regular prayer and Qur'an recitation, purifying our intentions so we create for Allah's pleasure, not worldly recognition, deepening our understanding of Islamic ethics to ensure our stories uphold truth, building our character so that our behavior on set and in the industry reflects Islamic values. Think about it. What good is a technically brilliant film that misrepresents Islam or promotes harmful values? What benefit is there in mastering the craft of filmmaking if our ego drives us rather than our service to Allah and the Ummah? Technical preparation must be accompanied by spiritual preparation. Phases of development. Another beautiful insight from Brother Fadil's explanation is his discussion of the different phases the Muslim community went through, from weakness to gradual empowerment to strength. He emphasizes that the Qur'an provides guidance for each of these phases, and we shouldn't apply the instructions for one phase to another. As he explains, the nation goes through stages of weakness, strength, and power. By studying the Qur'an, we can take advantage of the Qur'an to deal with each of these stages as the Qur'an deals with them. The early Muslims in Mecca focused on faith, education, and perseverance. In early Medina, they built institutions and defended themselves. Later, they took a more proactive approach to spreading Islam. As Muslim filmmakers, we too must recognize the phase we're in, both individually and collectively. Beginning filmmakers need to focus on learning the craft and developing their unique voice. Mid-career filmmakers might focus on building sustainable production models and mentoring others. Established filmmakers have a responsibility to open doors and create opportunities for the next generation. A first-time filmmaker shouldn't expect to immediately create a blockbuster that transforms global perceptions of Islam. Just as the early Muslims went through phases of development, we too must embrace our current phase while working toward the next. The key is to be strategic and intentional about our growth. Liberation, not domination. One of the most powerful points Brother Fadil makes is about the purpose of Islamic expansion. He quotes the companion Amer, who, when asked why Muslims were challenging the Persian Empire, said, "We are a people sent by God to take the worship out of the worship of the worshippers to the worship of the Lord of the worshippers." Brother Fadil emphasizes, they were going to liberate the oppressed people. The Prophet is described in the Qur'an as a liberator to take away their burden and the shackles that were on them. This perspective transforms how we should approach our filmmaking. We aren't creating films to dominate the cultural landscape or to impose our views on others. We're creating to liberate, to free people from misconceptions about Islam, to break the shackles of stereotypes, to lift the burdens of prejudice and ignorance. This liberation mindset should influence the stories we choose to tell, focusing on themes of spiritual and social liberation, how we portray Muslim characters as complex human beings, not as propaganda, our treatment of non-Muslim perspectives with respect and nuance, not dismissal, our ultimate goals, seeking to open hearts and minds, not to control or manipulate. When we approach filmmaking as an act of liberation rather than domination, we create work that invites rather than imposes. Our films become spaces where viewers can encounter authentic Islamic perspectives and make their own choices, rather than feeling they're being lectured or manipulated. Learning from mistakes. Brother Fadil makes an important point about the companions during the Battle of Badr. They made mistakes, including disputes about the spoils of war that led to the revelation of Surat Anfal. But as Brother Fadil notes, the companions were not infallible human beings. It was a new phase for them. They were not used to fighting, nor to jihad, nor to the fact that there was money coming in and there were spoils. This reminds us that growth involves mistakes. The companions weren't perfect, but they were committed to learning and improving. Similarly, our journey as Muslim filmmakers will include missteps and failures. What matters is that we learn from them and continue to grow. This perspective encourages us to be humble about our work and open to criticism. Learn from our creative failures rather than being discouraged by them. Give constructive feedback to fellow Muslim filmmakers with kindness and wisdom. Recognize that building a tradition of Islamic cinema is a collective, intergenerational project. Perhaps your first film doesn't achieve what you hoped, or maybe you look back at earlier work and see the flaws clearly. This isn't failure, it's growth. Just as the companions learned and developed through their mistakes, we too are on a journey of continuous improvement. Monks by night, knights by day. One of the most beautiful descriptions Brother Fadil uses for the companions is that they were monks by night and knights by day. They combined deep spirituality with courageous action. Their nights were spent in prayer and remembrance, while their days were filled with striving and effort. This balance is essential for us as Muslim filmmakers. We must be both contemplative and active, both spiritually connected and practically engaged. Our creative work should flow from our spiritual life, and our spiritual life should inform our creative choices. This dual identity means maintaining regular spiritual practices even during the intensity of production, allowing our prayer and reflection to inform our creative decisions, bringing the same discipline to our craft that we bring to our worship, recognizing that our creative work is a form of striving in Allah's cause. Imagine approaching your filmmaking with the same dedication the companions brought to their prayers and their struggles. Your editing room becomes a space of both technical precision and spiritual intention. Your film set becomes a place where excellence in craft meets excellence in character. Conclusion: our moment of empowerment. Brothers and sisters, Surat Anfal was revealed at a moment of transition for the early Muslim community, a moment when they were moving from a phase of patience and preparation to a phase of empowerment and action. As Brother Fadil explains, the Qur'an provides guidance for each phase of our collective journey. I believe we're at a similar moment of transition in Muslim filmmaking. After decades of misrepresentation and marginalization, we now have the tools, platforms, and opportunity to tell our own stories. This is our Badr moment, a time to emerge with strategic vision, spiritual preparation, and a commitment to liberation rather than domination. Let us approach our filmmaking as the companions approach their striving, with deep faith, strategic thinking, ethical commitment, and a willingness to learn from mistakes. Let us be monks by night and knights by day, combining spiritual depth with creative action. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to Brother Fadil Sulaiman for his profound insights into Surat Anfal. May Allah reward him abundantly for sharing his knowledge, increase him in wisdom and understanding, protect him and his family, and may Allah accept our creative efforts, purify our intentions, and make our films a means of guiding others to the beauty and truth of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.